Hello, good morning, Priyanka. How are you?
I'm good, Rita. Thank you so much. How are you?
Good. I'm so happy to have you here. And today I'm doing this podcast with Priyanka, whom I'll introduce shortly in English, but you can read the captions in Portuguese. They will be added in the YouTube channel, not in Spotify, which is only an audio. So I'm really happy to have Priyanka here because I truly believe that for one person to be aligned and be able to expand their lives to the fullest potential, you need some pillars, some fundamental pillars that will support your growth and expansion. And if we are misaligned in terms of body, in terms of mind, in terms of spirit, we will not be able to have that centeredness that is required for us to expand, because we will be wobbling. We will not be standing on something that's strong enough to uphold us and then uplift us and in the end launch us to where we want to be. So I invited Priyanka. I've met Priyanka when I was living in Dubai. I was there for 13 years and now we reconnected, and I'm really so happy because Priyanka is an incredible woman who is a certified yoga teacher specializing in Kundalini yoga, which relates to the chakra healing and also relates to breath work and its importance. And breathwork is really a centeredness of consciousness, of being aware. And it's an automatic switch to become aware of our highest self. So I think this will be a very interesting conversation. And Priyanka, the first question I want to ask you is, why did this passion, when did this passion become a desire for you that you pursued, and what made you take this course, and how has it changed your life? Let me know about it.
Well, to start, I'm in my early 30s now, and it's all started back 10 years ago when I was in my early to mid 20s. And obviously, that is the time when you're really, really aggressive. You wanna have everything in your life. You want the best of all worlds. You want a good career, you want a good partner, you want everything else. And that life of mine was kind of falling apart. So what I realized was something was missing in my life. And before getting to the purpose, I really wanted peace. So that's how I decided, that's how I started thinking that. I started ruminating and contemplating that how can I get that peace in my life? And this is just a question I used to keep throwing at the universe. I've always believed in something should have a soul calling rather than you doing something when people tell you, do this, do that, because you're going through a depressed phase or you're going to through a sad phase. Everyone goes through that phase, so you should do this, you should do that. I've never been a follower of those kind of things. I've always left it up at the universe, and whatever calls me, I follow that. So for some reason, I was really drawn to this temple, and below that temple is where yoga used to be performed daily. So it was a daily process where you have to go and perform a few postures. And that temple was of Goddess Durga. Goddess Durga is a very, very highly worshipped female goddess in India. She has like amazing number of followers. Of course, not many people know that India have various deities, but Goddess Durga is one of them, and she has a very fierce form. She also relates a lot with increasing fire in your life. And when I say fire, it means the good fire, the fire that runs you, that supports you, the fire that makes you do things, that makes you wake up in the morning and go about your day.
I love
So
this. Yes.
yeah, yeah, so I think that is what was missing in my life, the fire. So that's how I got drawn to it. And when I started performing yoga, I started getting deep into it. And as I started getting very disciplined with my practice, I realized that my all areas of life were balancing slow by slow. It took time to be very clear, it took time. It was not like, I started yoga and 1 month I was rosy and, on cloud nine. It was not like that. It took me, for starters, in 6 months, I had a very disciplined practice. And that's when I found myself to begin that phase of peace. And that's when my mind started clearing up from all the clutter that had that had been loaded on my mind with all the failures and the bad relationships that I had been through. So yeah, when I started this, thereafter there was no stop. That's when I decide that I always want yoga to be a part of my life. And Kundalini particularly focuses on, so yoga has many aspects.
Yes.
It's more about postures in some of them. It's more about breath work in some of them. And most of the yoga, like Ashtanga and Hatha and Power Yoga, they amalgamate both of them.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, I learned the whole holistic yoga, the basic one. But then I focused more on Kundalini, which was more about chakra healing, because I felt that, my connection with the earth was very weak. And I'm more of a mind person. So when you do Kundalini yoga, you integrate mind and breath, because you are meditating, your eyes are closed, and you're working a lot on your breath. The only thing that is in your whole body other than your blood is your breath, right? The air that we pump in. When we
Yes.
breathe, we are giving in oxygen to the whole body, and when we breathe out, we are releasing all the toxins and the carbon dioxide. So with all of this, the ease that I felt and how smooth my life started becoming, I decided that I have to go deeper in it. And it didn't particularly have to be my whole life centered around it. So I started giving pieces and bits of my day to that practice. And eventually I went to Rishikesh, which is a very famous place in India, to learn and get deeper into this practice. So I
I
also
love
because
this.
also because I could teach it to other people.
Yes. And I really love what you said about the journey, and that it really requires a strong sense of discipline, and it takes time. And the results of a clear mind are not a one day exercise. It's a thorough, it's a devotion to what it is important for you, and for you to feel this balance. It's something that you continuously choose.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes, I love that message. And I want to ask you, because I've done my work with you, and it was really amazing. And we did many sessions. And I remember after some time, this is when I came back from Dubai. We had recently met. And I remember being in my parents' house, because I was living there before I came to my house in Portugal. And we did the sessions there on my parents' living room through Zoom. And I remember after many sessions, there was this moment where I really felt this full connection of mind, body, spirit. And I really felt this incredible flow. And I felt that I could do anything at that moment. And that conjunction, that coming together, it was really a coming together. And this flow that went through me was magical, was really magical. And it was after many sessions. I love that message. It's not something that happens at once. It's something that you allow to happen as you surrender more and more to the practice. And I think that's a bit of what I want to share with who's listening, is this full alignment. And I'm an alignment coach, so for me this really makes so much sense. That alignment that I felt was magical, and it's something that we can create in our lives in a consistent way. So my question now to you is building this foundation. What will be possible for people? You've already mentioned a bit about your mind being free, right? You've mentioned this. So what is possible when you have this strong foundation?
So when you have this strong foundation, your purpose is clear. We all have come on this earth for some purpose. Sometimes you feel lost despite having all the money, despite having good relationships, and you know, there are a lot of talks on depression, on anxiety, and some people say that why are, like, a lot of celebrities are there who are very depressed, and we as normal people will, we think that they have everything, and then why are they so depressed? That's because something is out of balance, something is out of alignment, and your purpose may not exactly be what you are already doing at the moment. It might be something else. If it is what you're doing at the moment, good enough, you are on the right track. But if you feel something is missing and there needs to be more to life, then that's when this kind of alignment really helps you, because you have clarity in your mind, in your body, in your spirit. You know every moment what is supposed to be done next, and the kind of life you are living breeds that positivity. At the end of the day, you know, when we go and meet people, what are we exactly sharing? We are sharing our energy. You know, once my yoga guru said that, you know, all these storms that happen are actually created by people's negative energies. So the best thing you can do for this world is to have a good energy, because you will be emanating that energy to the world. So that will also really help change your energy, change your aura, and everything that you give out to the world.
That's
So
beautiful. And
yeah,
what you
that
give out, you will receive. So it
absolutely
is,
multiple
you'll
folds.
be
You give
attracting
out
it.
one, you'll receive 10. You give out 10, you'll receive 100. So yeah, that's how it's going to be. 100%.
Yes.
Yeah.
I really love that. And can you tell me, Priyanka, what do you feel are some of the biggest challenges or difficulties that people have in establishing a practice that will support them so much?
Well, the main being your brain, you know, your mind, because when we grow up, we become so addicted to the way we live our life that for some people it is so difficult to wake up in the morning, even though they really want to. For some people, it's very difficult to lose weight, even though they really want to. So, you know, I was reading this book called Super Brain by Deepak Chopra. He's also a very famous
Oh, I love Deepak
scientist and
Chopra.
yoga. Yeah. So in that book, he has mentioned that, you know, how your brain gets these sticky substances when you go through your daily routines. So it just becomes sticky. Even smoking as a habit, you know, why do some people claim that I really want to quit it, and every day I wake up with the thought of quitting it, but I cannot? Because that process has become subconscious. It's not conscious anymore. So yeah, that's one of the hindrance that we have in creating that discipline and working hard to get that alignment. Also, you know, yoga mentions that we carry a lot of karmic baggage. So I'm sure we all have some kind of imbalance with our chakras already. So when we work on any of them, you know, the deep down emotions, they come to surface.
Mhm.
When you have to deal with those emotions, it gets a little difficult. Um it may create feeling of anxiety, feeling like, you know, sometimes they say, even in allopathy, in the field of medication, they say sometimes when they give you medication for healing you, it actually increases your illness first before starting to work
Mhm.
on the illness and reducing it. So similarly with any practice that you start, you know, even when you start walking, you're going to start getting leg pain first, because your legs are not used to walking, you know. So when you will start any disciplined practice, or you'll start aligning on yourself, you will always have feelings come up. But the best thing to do is to keep believing in yourself, to keep believing that this too shall pass, and just keep working for it, because no man has achieved anything without trying and without going on. Like, you know, the biggest failure you can have in your life is that you never worked for it. You worked for it and you fail is okay, but you never worked for it is the biggest failure that you can have. So
Yes.
whenever you get those feelings, the best part is just to keep going through them, and eventually, you know, there is only one answer. You will get there, no matter how long you take, because everybody is different. You might be carrying a lot of baggage from your past, so you might take a little longer, and that's okay. That's absolutely okay. You have been through a lot more. So you're going to take longer, and but you will get there. You will get there 1,000%. And when you are there, all the dots can be connected backward. as to what happened, and why had I to go through all that process to be where I am now.
So beautiful, because it really does come up, the resistance, when you have a desire and you start pursuing it. That's when the most resistance comes, because it's the unconscious holding you back. And really there needs to be discipline and strength and also a new belief, as you said, I will get there, because the resistance will be all the voices that will hold you back. And it really is about, I understand these voices, but I'm choosing a new path and persisting, as you said, and dedicating, when you mentioned in the beginning, dedicating some time every day to this practice. And it really is that.
It's hard. It's not easy. I know this is all easier said than done. But sometimes, if you have those days when you don't want to do anything, no problem. Learn to rest, but don't quit. Never ever is quitting an option. You can always take a break, like rest. But yeah, giving up is never a good option. Ever.
I agree. I agree that's really important to keep the self-commitment, and also very important it's to commit to something that you will not quit. So it's not about, maybe you don't have to do it every day, but you commit to something that you will not quit on yourself. And
absolutely.
I love what you said, even if you choose to rest on your commitment time, it is still a commitment. You have still dedicated that time to that. So I really love that. And I want to ask you now, Priyanka, so what can a person do? What would be your suggestion if someone wants to say, okay, I want to dedicate this time to this balance, to this alignment through this work? What could they start doing from today on a consistent level? Because as you mentioned, when you start something, then the road starts opening up. You've started following your desire, and then you ended up doing a course, you ended up teaching other people like me. So what would be the first steps that you'd recommend to open up this field of possibilities?
Well, the first step would be to know your pros and to know your cons. So you go to any healer, they will always recommend you one common practice, which is journaling. Journaling is a good dialogue with your own self, especially when it has become negative. Because when you start writing your thoughts, it makes a lot of difference. Because you write them, you read them. So the first is to bring that knowledge as to what is it that is not in alignment in your life. So this is how I went about it. So I started writing a lot. I used to write anything that used to come in my mind, especially things that were not working out, that were bothering me so much. And also start focusing on your breath. Like I mentioned, the only thing in running in your whole body other than your blood is your breath, the air that you're pumping in. So every cell of your body is feeling that air. And there are many experiments on how, when you take a glass of water and you bless it, the molecules of the water change.
Yes.
And when you're angry, it changes. So when you're angry, you start breathing fast, even without realizing that you're breathing very fast. So a practice like yoga, the reason we do things like om chanting, and there is a breathwork technique called Brahmari, which is humming like bees. The reason we all do all these techniques is to slow the number of times we are breathing in 1 minute. Usually, when usually the number of times you should breathe in and out in 1 minute is 4 times. It sounds.
Okay. Can we try it? Can we try it?
We can, definitely. We can try it in the end of the session.
Yes.
And almost whenever we are just about to get done with the session. And also, as you keep going up in the magnitude of emotions, these number of breaths keep going up, which is not actually very good for your health. And in India, there's a saying, whenever a child is born, they are given a counted number of breaths. for a lifetime. So when you are angry, you're using up all those breaths.
Oh, I
When you are
understand.
sad, you are using up all those breaths quickly. So it's all about slowing your breathing scenario, like breathing ratio down, and that will really help you calm down. That's also a mantra for everything, right? When anyone has anxiety, when anyone has anger, always they tell you, start counting your breath. And so rather than waiting for anxiety or anger, you should make this a conscious practice of doing this twice a day, or focusing on your breath, and just hanging in there and just closing your eyes and feeling that breath going in and out of your nostrils, or your belly lifting up and down when you're breathing. Even that focus makes you realize, that you're alive. You are living on this planet called Earth, and how
Yes.
important you are
Yes.
to this Earth.
I truly
So
believe that this conscious breathing and not the automatic physiological breath.
absolutely, yeah,
When you
yeah,
consciously breathe in a situation and you become aware of what
correct.
is happening of your context, and this awareness and becoming conscious is really the difference of going through life in motion, like just not being aware, or understanding where you are all the time in connection to your highest self, this breath that just
Absolutely.
connects you instantly. That's very beautiful. And maybe we can try, because now after this I will ask you about your personal message. And maybe I just loved what you said about the fire. So maybe you could also speak about that, how to bring up this fire in our lives, because I do feel that as an alignment coach, I feel there's so much misalignment, and as what you've mentioned, people not understanding their purpose, not having that clarity, or sometimes just feeling that they want to begin, but there's this fire, as you said, this action that cuts through, this resistance that cuts through the voices, that cuts through everything. So maybe if you would like to expand on that, but let's try to do the 1
Breath
minute
work. Absolutely,
so we can
absolutely.
really understand the tempo that we are talking about.
Sure, sure. So you can always also include mantras like Om chanting. And the reason why Om is an important syllable in yoga is because it is a very high energy syllable. So when you speak Om, Om is actually amalgamation of three small letters, that is A, U, and Ma. So Om. So when you say A, you are focusing on the lower three chakras. When you say U, you are focusing on your heart chakra. And when you say Ma, you are focusing on your upper three chakras.
Oh, beautiful.
So kind of a whole body alignment. But for starters, I guess we can, it's just a message that I'm giving, that you can always imbibe or a mantra if you're doing breath work, like I am a peaceful soul or I'm a happy soul, whenever you're doing the breath work. But for now, maybe we can do just 2 rounds with counting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So anybody who's listening, please make sure you're not driving or you're not doing any activity. Just please be in a very centered place where you're probably sitting cross-legged, or you're sitting on a chair, but you're not lying down or you're not sleeping. For starters, it's important to you do all these practices sitting, because you may tend to fall asleep when you do it, because they are calming practices. So sitting is a better option, especially in the beginning, until you get used to it. So as I mentioned, I hope anybody who's listening is now in a centered place, and you can close your eyes. And on my count, first relax yourself. Now, after your last breathe out, breathe in very slowly with my counts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold. Hold the breath inside your body and feel it going up and down in your body as it's opening up every cell of your body. And slowly breathe out on my count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Take a break, breathe normally. Hopefully you've got a hang, so we'll repeat it one last time. This time, hopefully it will be better than the last time. Whenever you're ready, breathe in on my count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe out slowly for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe normally. And you can slowly open your eyes.
So
Now, this is
relaxing.
just a teaser. This was just a teaser. Obviously, there is a lot more stuff that can be gone. Like, we can go a lot more deeper and a lot more intense. So this is just the beginning. This is how we start.
Any of these conversations could go on forever. That's what I feel.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So to finish, Priyanka, I'd like to ask you about a message that has to do with the fire, whatever comes to you, that you'd like for people to listen from you.
Well, like I mentioned in the beginning of the show, I never like to follow anything that's being told to me. I actually get very offended when people tell me to follow something, even though it might be at their most right intention. And I know particularly I might not be right in doing that, but sometimes you just don't want to hear people telling you to do something. Sometimes you just want people to listen. So be a good listener and be a good prayer. Your higher self and the universe is your best friend. Nobody wants more good of you than them. So if you are going through any period of challenge in your life, the best thing you can do is pray and just surrender. Surrendering is what will get you to where you want to be, even if you don't know anything about it. Even if you don't know where you want to be, no problem. Just surrender. And the minute you surrender, that's when you know it's coming to you. So yeah, to start your fire, the first thing, surrender. If you don't know anything, surrender. I surrender to my higher self. And we really underestimate the higher power, which is ourself. So yeah, the best power that you can have for yourself is your higher self. And always, always have faith in your higher self. You will always be guided to your best life.
Yes.
Always, if you believe in it.
And when you surrender and you stop trying to control, right, the outcomes, or stop trying to do something, then the answer will come to you.
Come to you, yeah.
So beautiful. Priyanka, thank you so much. This was a lovely talk, and I hope you enjoyed it too. And I'm so glad we reconnected, and wishing you all the very best in your life, for you and for
Thank you so much. And I wish all the best to all the listeners. And thank you so much for taking out their time and listening to me. I hope I've been able to touch some aspects that they were really looking some information for. And I look forward to passing on more information that I've got from my gurus.
Thank you so very much. Much love to you and everyone listening to us. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.